When a senior advocate of Nigerian like Femi Falana complaining about the miscarriages of judgments from our judicial system, that speaks volume. It makes you to realize why ordinary Nigerians like me and you are tired of and fed up with the system. And sometimes I ask, how many years Nigerians will continue to lament and to complain? If the political revolution and democracy did not save our country, what else do we think that is the solution?
The stakeholders should go back to the drawing table so that the involvement of judges in our elections can be completely eliminated. Nigeria is the only country in the world today where results of elections are determined by judges. It shouldn't be so. We have just witnessed in Liberia, a country that Nigeria assisted to restore political stability. We just witnessed an election there. Recently, we witnessed an election, a successful election in Sierra Leone. Again, another country assisted by Nigeria to have law and order restored. So if these countries can organize elections, why are we asking judges to determine the result of our elections with respect to the decisions of the Court of Appeal? That is not the end of the road. All those who are dissatisfied will have to go to the Supreme Court. But if you look at what happened in Lagos, why is different from Plateau, is that you are being told in the case of Plateau, there was a judgment of the High Court to the effect that primaries have to be conducted. The judgment, as usual, was dishonored, disregarded, disobeyed, and elections went on. I think the last time I can recall that the Supreme Court berated the Nigerian political class to learn to comply with the doctrine of least spending was the case of Mr. Peter Obi and INEC. When in 2007, in spite of the case of Mr. Peter Obi that was pending the High Court, INEC went and proceeded to hold the election. The Supreme Court made the point that it was a risk on the part of INEC to engage in a wasteful exercise by conducting that election while the case of Mr. Peter Obi was pending. Now, if we are being told here that the court ordered their primaries be held and the primaries were not held, and the election took place on the basis of the primaries that were not held, there are problems. I do hope that the Supreme Court will make a definitive pronouncement on this. Again, it's different from Kano, where you are being told now that voters can be punished. It's a very dangerous judicial policy to punish sanctioned voters for the mistake of electoral officer. We are being told here that 165,000 votes are wasted. They are invalid because some electoral officers refused or committed an error by not stamping them. How does that affect the validity of the election? If you recall again the case of Yaradua, Buhari and Yaradua, even the election material, the ballot papers were not serialized, they were not marked, but the Supreme Court came to the conclusion that the petitioner, General Buhari, on that occasion, did not impeach the integrity of the election. So I do hope that this time around the Supreme Court will again resolve this needless controversy surrounding the stamping of ballot paper by INEC officials who have not been recommended for any discipline or any sanction. So this is why these judgments will have to be reviewed.
Nigeria needs a revolution or else. Nigerians must understand that unless something drastic happens, we cannot have elections that are won on the basis of ideas. As things stand in Nigeria today, Our successive governments have destroyed the basis for any progressive politics. You cannot have a country where young people who are brilliant, who have ideas, are told to run for councillors, while people with antiquated ideas are recommended to be presidential candidates. And even they become president. That's why the country is the way it is today. Unless a revolution happens in this country, same way they had in Sudan, probably in Algeria, it's going to be difficult to have free and fair elections. I am saying it so that we are not under any illusion that somehow, if we continue to talk, it is not a battle of wits, that the democratic space will open for us to have a country where good people, great ideas can lead the country. As we chanted during our recent protest march in Maryland area of Lagos, in Nigeria where just 5 people will be richer than 200 million people, call a work. In Nigeria where your NEPA bill is greater than your house rent, call a work. To the skeptics who say Nigerians are too apathetic and divided to rise up for a revolution or up to a revolution, I say this: hunger doesn't know ethnicity, insecurity doesn't know religion, and when Nigeria becomes a better place, it won't matter where you come from.
And the question remains, what kind of revolution are we talking about? Because I think that what happens in the last election was a political revolution where people came out en masse to change the leadership. Nigeria has attempted so many revolutions in a democratic way and peaceful manner, but all these so-called political elites always have their way. They always have their way of manipulating the election results. If they couldn't manipulate the election results, INEC will do that for them. If INEC couldn't do that for them, they will use judiciary as a tool to carry out what is in their mind. That is what Femi Falana, respected son, is saying in this video, that, come on, that the judgment carried out in Kano and also in Plateau State, it doesn't go well. Where the decision of the voters, if the INEC couldn't rig the election, then the voters will be in trouble. A judge will just come out and declare a result without any jurisprudence of the past election cases, and not following the constitution as it is. The constitution is like a Quran or a Bible. If you want to talk about something in the constitution, you must see something to support it or something to fight against it. But that shouldn't be the way. Things are supposed to be as it is. When the Supreme Court order, other state high courts and court of appeal will be given another judgment, another court will just come out and give opposite judgment. Sometimes you will be asking, I thought it's one constitution in Nigeria, one law. Why is it that if a judge will come out and give a different judgment, another judge will come out give a different judgment on the same issue? Are we not on the same country? Do we have 2 constitutions? So that is the problem we are facing in this country. And I think, honestly, the time is up. Because people are fed up. When you are chasing somebody because you have every power against the person, when the person gets tired, he don't have any other option than to turn back and face you. And I think that is the position we are as a nation.